I always believed my sister, Aunt Mel, loved my daughter more than anything. She babysat her, brought her gifts, cooked her meals, and spoiled her more than I ever could. She was the fun aunt, the one kids adored and parents trusted without thinking twice. So when my daughter Emma came home with a small pink bottle in her backpack, I didn't ask too many questions. The label said, Children's Herbal Mood Support, Organic Vitamins. I thought nothing of it. But in the last few weeks, something about Emma changed. She became quiet, withdrawn, sleepy all the time. Her smile, my daughter's sunshine, began fading like a dying light. And then one night, while brushing her hair before bed, she whispered, Mom, can I please stop taking Aunt's pills? They make my head feel funny. My heart tightened. What do you mean? I asked gently, trying not to alarm her. Aunt Mel says they help me behave, but I don't like them. They make everything slow, like the world is underwater. I froze. Behave? Why would she need pills to behave? I examined the bottle more carefully. The ingredients looked harmless. Chamomile, lavender, magnesium, and one long word I didn't recognize. I decided I'd call the pediatrician in the morning, but Emma wasn't finished. And she said not to tell you, she added, lowering her voice as if her aunt might be hiding in the walls. She said you'd get mad. I felt something dark twist inside my chest. Sweetheart, why would she say that? I pressed gently. Emma shrugged. She said every kid needs special pills sometimes. And she said it's our little secret. A secret between my daughter and my sister. About medication. My pulse quickened. Okay, I whispered, forcing a calmness I didn't feel. You don't have to take anything you don't want. I'll take care of it. Emma nodded sleepily and curled into my side. But I barely slept that night. The next morning, I drove straight to the pediatrician's office the moment they opened. No appointment, no waiting. The doctor, Dr. Lewis, who had seen Emma since birth, examined the bottle carefully. At first, his face was calm. Then he squinted at the ingredients. Then he typed something into his computer. Then he typed more, faster. Then he picked up the bottle again, shaking it. Finally, he looked at me. Not casually, not professionally, but with alarm. Where did you get this? He asked. My sister gave them to Emma, I replied. She said they were vitamins. He inhaled sharply. These are not children's vitamins. My stomach dropped. What do you mean? What's in them? There's an ingredient in here, he said carefully, pointing at the long scientific term on the label. That is not approved for children, not even under supervision. It's a sedative compound used in certain adult anxiety medications. It can cause dizziness, slowed reflexes, confusion, and, in higher doses, he paused. It can be dangerous. The room spun. Dangerous? I repeated, my voice barely there. For my 8-year-old? He nodded grimly. More than dangerous. My fingers shook. How much has she taken? How many pills are left? He asked urgently. I opened the bottle. It was almost empty. Dr. Lewis stood up so fast, his chair screeched across the floor. We need to run tests on her immediately. I didn't know, I stammered, guilt washing over me in crashing waves. You couldn't have known, he said firmly. The packaging looks innocent. But whoever did this, did it intentionally. Intentionally. The word cut through me like a blade. My sister, my own flesh and blood? Why would she give a child sedatives? What was she doing? The doctor gently placed his hand on my shoulder. I need you to tell me everything, he said. Every single detail, and so I did. I told him when Emma started staying with Mel more often, when my work schedule became heavier, when Mel insisted on helping, when she brought over new toys, new clothes, new meals, when she started calling herself second mom, when she started spending alone time with Emma in her room. As I spoke, the doctor's eyes darkened with each sentence. When I finished, he sighed heavily. I don't want to scare you, he said slowly, but this is not normal behavior. Your daughter may have been given these pills for a purpose we don't yet understand. A cold shiver moved through me. What do you mean? I whispered. He met my gaze with a seriousness I had never seen before. I mean, someone was drugging your child. The world collapsed. I gripped the edge of the counter to stay upright. Drugging my sister? Why? Why would she do that? Dr. Lewis continued, voice low. And there's something else. These pills, they're not available over the counter. They must be ordered from a private supplier. Someone had to go out of their way to get them. My mouth felt dry. So she did it intentionally? I whispered, yes. This wasn't an accident. I felt sick, betrayed, terrified. The doctor took a deep breath. You need to keep Emma away from your sister until we understand what's going on. And you may need to involve the authorities. Authorities, the word echoed like thunder. My sister, the woman who braided Emma's hair, who read her bedtime stories, who said she loved her. I shook my head in disbelief. But deep down, something inside me whispered that Dr. Lewis was right. Something had been wrong for a long time, and I had ignored it. When Emma finished her tests, Dr. Lewis came back with a serious expression. We'll know more in a few days, he said. But preliminary signs suggest she's been under the influence for weeks, possibly months. Months. My daughter had been drugged for months. By someone she trusted, someone I trusted. I picked Emma up in my arms as if she were made of glass. As we walked to the car, her tiny voice broke the silence. Mom, are you mad at Aunt Mel? I swallowed hard. No, sweetheart, I lied. I'm just thinking. Can I still see her? She asked innocently. I gripped the steering wheel tightly. No, I said softly. Not right now. She nodded slowly. But her next words chilled my blood. Okay, but she won't like that. I froze. Why? Emma stared out the window. Because she said she needs me. She said I'm important to her, more than you know. A chill clawed down my spine. Important? Why? What was my sister doing? And what did she want with my child? As I drove home, one terrifying realization settled in my chest like ice. The pills were only the beginning. For the rest of that day, I couldn't focus on anything. I kept replaying Emma's words. She said she needs me, more than you know. What did that even mean? My hands trembled as I cooked dinner. Emma sat on the couch, her little legs tucked under her, watching cartoons with half-open eyes. She still looked drowsy, fragile, drugged. And suddenly I remembered something I had brushed aside weeks ago, something that should have been a warning. A memory crashed back. Emma, sitting at the table, drawing a picture of 3 people. Her, me, and Aunt Mel, but Mel was drawn significantly bigger, with a crown. When I asked her why Mel was bigger, she giggled and said, because Aunt Mel says she's the queen of the house. I had laughed then, now it felt sinister. When my phone rang, I jumped. The screen flashed. Mel. My heart lurched. I didn't want to answer, but not answering felt more suspicious. I swallowed hard and picked up. Hey, why aren't you bringing Emma today? She asked cheerfully. No greeting. No concern, just expectation. I decided to keep her home, I said stiffly. Silence. Then her voice dropped an octave. Oh, why? She wasn't feeling well. I took her to the doctor. Again, silence. Then, what did he say? Her tone wasn't worried. It was sharp, cautious. He said she needs rest, I lied. Another long pause. Well, Mel said finally, her voice tight. Make sure she takes her pills. She needs them. Ice flooded my veins. I don't think she does, I said quietly. Her next words sent a chill through my spine. Don't interfere with what you don't understand, sister. Sister. Not sis, not honey, just sister. Cold, distant. Threatening. I have to go, I whispered, and hung up before she could answer. My fingers shook so badly I had to grip the counter to steady myself. That night, Emma couldn't sleep. She tossed, she turned. She whimpered. Her little body was trying to adjust to the absence of the pills. I lay beside her, stroking her hair, whispering soothing words. Mom, she whispered weakly, my head feels weird. I know, sweetheart. It's okay, I'm here. Will Aunt Mel be mad at me? No, I lied again. You didn't do anything wrong. But Emma shook her head, eyes glassy. She told me I'm special, that I make her feel better, that she needs me more than anyone. A pressure built inside my chest. What did she mean by that? I asked carefully. She said, Emma blinked slowly. She said I help her stay calm, that I'm her medicine, her medicine. My stomach dropped. What else did she tell you? I whispered. She said the pills help me stay calm too, so we can match. So we can be twins. Twins? My sister had no children of her own. She had always loved Emma, maybe too much. But this went beyond affection. This was obsession. And suddenly all the puzzle pieces began fitting together. The extra gifts, the extra visits, the alone time, the secrets, the increasing clinginess. My sister wasn't just attached to Emma. She was trying to make Emma into her child. The next morning, I woke up with one goal, to find out what Mel had really been giving my daughter. I called the doctor's office again. Before I could even ask, the nurse said, "Dr. Lewis asked us to notify you if anything urgent came up. He needs you to come in." Immediately, my pulse pounded. Emma stayed home with my mother, the only person I could trust right now. As I entered the office, Dr. Lewis greeted me with a grave expression. "We analyzed the pills," he said, gesturing for me to sit. "And there's something you need to know." "What?" My voice barely worked. He held up a printed lab report. "There's a compound in these pills that is not listed on the label. Something not normally associated with sedatives." "What is it?" I whispered. He hesitated before saying the word, "Oxytocin." My breath caught. "That's the bonding hormone, right? The one released between mothers and newborns?" He nodded. "Exactly. In adults, it promotes attachment. In children, it can strongly influence emotional bonding and dependence. Given regularly, it can create an intense psychological attachment to whoever administers it." I felt cold all over. "So you're telling me?" I swallowed hard. My sister was trying to make my daughter bond with her?" "Yes," he said quietly. "To an unnatural level." I covered my mouth with my hand, tears burning behind my eyes. "But why would she—" "There's more," he interrupted gently. "The sedative component also makes the child docile, compliant, and emotionally quiet. In combination with oxytocin, it can create a type of psychological imprinting." I stared at him in horror. "Doctor, are you saying my sister was trying to replace you?" He finished softly. "Yes, that's exactly what it looks like." The room spun. No, she would never. But then memories attacked me like knives. Mel telling Emma, "I'm your second mom." Mel insisting on babysitting constantly, taking Emma without asking, bringing gifts that felt too much, calling Emma my girl, taking pictures of her constantly, buying matching clothes, and then Emma's drawings. Emma shrinking in every picture, Mel growing taller, me fading. Emma's words echoed in my skull. She said she needs me. I'm her medicine. My sister wasn't just obsessed, she was possessive, and she had drugged my child for months. A wave of rage, fear, guilt, and disbelief crashed over me. "What do?" I whispered brokenly. Dr. Lewis placed a reassuring hand on my arm. "You need to protect your daughter, immediately. And that means you cannot let your sister near her again." My mouth went dry. "I need to tell her," I whispered. "I need to confront her." "No," he cut in sharply. "Do not confront her alone. People who go this far, they don't react logically." A shiver ran down my spine. "But she'll notice Emma isn't coming over. She'll get suspicious." "Yes," he said. "And that is why we need to move quickly." He leaned in, lowering his voice. "This isn't just medical anymore. It's psychological manipulation, possibly endangerment. Maybe worse," my heart hammered. "What are you saying?" He exhaled deeply. "I'm saying you may need to call the police." The word hit like a slap. Police. Against my sister, my own blood. But then I pictured Emma's sleepy eyes, her fragile voice, her slow movements, her fear, her confusion. My daughter needed me, and suddenly my fear hardened into steel. "Okay," I whispered. "I'll do whatever it takes." But I had no idea. Mel was already one step ahead of me. When I got home, there was a note taped to my front door. In my sister's handwriting. "Where's Emma? Why didn't you bring her today? We need to talk now." And at the bottom, a chilling line. "You're making a big mistake." The doctor's words echoed in my ears long after we'd left the clinic. These pills were never meant for children. They can cause neurological damage. Neurological damage. The phrase dug into my chest like a claw. I held Lily tighter as we walked to the car. She was unusually quiet, her little hand cold inside mine. When I buckled her into her seat, she finally looked up at me with frightened eyes. "Mom, am I in trouble?" My heart cracked. "No, sweetheart. You did everything right. You told me the truth. And now Mommy is going to protect you. I promise." But inside my mind wasn't calm. It was burning, because one question screamed louder than everything else. Why had my sister, my own sister, given my daughter dangerous pills? My sister Karen usually hummed around the kitchen or talked loudly on the phone. But today, the silence had weight. I stepped inside, clutching the prescription bottle like evidence in a crime scene. Karen appeared in the hallway. "Oh, you're back early. Why did you give her these?" I snapped, holding the bottle out. Her face drained of color. "Oh, that," she forced a laugh. You're overreacting. They're just supplements. Supplements? The doctor said they can cause neurological harm to kids. She looked away, arms folded tight. I was helping her calm down. She's always so sensitive, always crying. I just wanted to make life easier for you. For me, my voice shook with anger. You drugged my child for my convenience? Lily peeked around the corner at the tension in the hallway. Karen flashed her an overly sweet smile. Honey, come here. You know Auntie only wants the best for you. I stepped between them. Don't speak to her. Karen's smile disappeared. What is your problem? You're acting like I'm some villain. I raised you when Mom died. I took care of you. That doesn't give you the right to poison my daughter. Karen's expression twisted, hurt, then rage. She's my family too. I love her. I could feel something shifting inside me, the realization that love wasn't always safe, and family didn't always mean trust. I ushered Lily into her room and blocked Karen from entering. Then my phone rang. It was the doctor again. Mrs. Hart, I ran the numbers again. The dose your daughter has been taking is far above what any child should be exposed to. I need you to bring her back in the morning for further tests. I swallowed hard. Is she in immediate danger? Not at this exact moment, he said, but this cannot continue. If the administration was recent and repeated, we need to be sure her organ function is stable. My stomach flipped. Doctor, what kind of pills are these exactly? A pause. They're not calming supplements. They're prescription tranquilizers for adults. Strong ones. I felt the room spin. My sister had lied to me, repeatedly, deliberately. But why? I walked into the living room where Karen sat, staring at the blank TV screen. She didn't look at me. Why did you give her adult tranquilizers? I asked quietly. Why didn't you tell me the truth? She flinched. Then she whispered something that froze me. I didn't want her to end up like you. Like me? She finally lifted her eyes, full of old bitterness. You were always loud, emotional. Difficult. I had to raise you, remember? You were a storm I couldn't control. I just wanted Lily to be calm. Manageable, easy. My throat tightened. You don't get to redesign my child because you couldn't handle me. She cries too much. Karen shouted. She gets overwhelmed. She panics. You can't control her, and I was trying to help. Help? I said, you were breaking her. Karen shook her head furiously. You should be thanking me. You're a single mom. You're drowning. I was just trying to make her easier. I felt a chill crawl through me. Her voice wasn't concerned, it was obsessive. She didn't want to help my daughter. She wanted to shape her into someone quiet, compliant, and controlled. Just like she tried to shape me. Lily's secret. Before I could answer, Lily appeared again, clinging to the doorway. Auntie said if I told you, I'd make you sad, she whispered. My entire body tensed. She said Mommy would think I'm a bad girl, and she would cry a lot, so I shouldn't say anything. Karen closed her eyes, guilt flashing across her face. I turned toward her slowly. You manipulated her. You scared her. How could you do that to a child? It wasn't like that. Then what was it like? I demanded. Karen opened her mouth, but no sound came out. The real reason. Finally, she whispered, I didn't want you to leave. I blinked. What? You were talking about moving out, she said, voice trembling. You and Lily, I could feel it. You've been pulling away from me for months, and I knew once you left, I'd be alone again. It hit me then, her desperation, her fear, her twisted attempt to keep us dependent on her. You thought drugging my daughter would make us stay, I said in disbelief. I thought if she wasn't so difficult, you wouldn't want to move away. I thought you'd need me. I took a deep breath, my anger replaced by something colder. Resolve. You need help, Karen, real help. And you can't be around my daughter until you get it. She shook her head violently. You can't take her away from me. She's the only one who loves me. I need her. No, I said firmly, stepping back toward Lily. You don't need her. You need therapy. Karen lunged forward, desperation overtaking reason, but I was faster. I grabbed Lily and backed toward the door. We're leaving, I said, and I meant it. As I walked out with my daughter in my arms, Karen screamed behind us, her voice raw and broken. But I didn't look back, because now I knew. The danger hadn't been strangers, or the world, or some accident. It had been inside my home, inside someone I thought I could trust, and whatever came next, I was ready to face it. For Lily, for us, for the truth that had only just begun to surface. I spent the entire night sitting beside my daughter's bed, watching her breathe as if she might disappear at any moment. Her small hand, warm in mine, felt like the only thing anchoring me to reality. Every breath she took reminded me of the moment earlier that day. The doctor's voice, the horror in his eyes, the unspoken danger hanging in the room like poison. But the fear didn't fully hit me until the house grew silent. Aunt Ruth's slippers usually dragged across the hallway every night, back and forth. Bathroom, kitchen, sometimes the garden. But tonight there was silence. A heavy, unnatural kind of silence, like the house itself was holding its breath. I stood from the chair slowly, my heart pounding. My daughter shifted but didn't wake. I stepped out of the room and closed the door gently. The hallway was dark, only the dim glow of the nightlight painting long shadows across the walls. I took one step, then another, and that's when I noticed it, the smell. A faint metallic scent drifting from the direction of Aunt Ruth's room. Dread punched my stomach. I walked faster. Her door was slightly open, light spilling into the hallway in a thin line. I pushed the door wider. "Aunt Ruth?" My voice came out shaky. Her room was a mess. Drawers open, bottles scattered on the floor, clothes half pulled out. But the worst part was her desk. Spilled pills, empty blister packs, and a notebook, open to a page filled with scribbles, arrows, frantic handwriting. It didn't look like the neat, organized Ruth I knew. It looked chaotic, desperate. I stepped inside. "Aunt Ruth, are you here?" No answer. Only the hum of the table lamp. I approached the desk and picked up the notebook. Half the writing was crossed out, rewritten, corrected, crossed out again, as if she was fighting with herself, as if she couldn't decide which version of her own thoughts to trust. And then I saw the words that made my throat close. Dose too strong. But she must stay quiet. No one must know what she saw. What she saw? My breath caught. Before I could flip the next page, a sound came from behind me. A sharp inhale, I turned. Aunt Ruth stood in the doorway, hair disheveled, eyes wild, clutching a half-buttoned robe around herself. She looked like she hadn't slept in days. Or weeks. "You shouldn't be in here," she whispered. Her voice wasn't sharp or angry. It was trembling, as if she was scared of something or someone. "I needed to know what you were giving my daughter," I said, trying to steady my voice. Her eyes flicked to the desk, then to my hands, then back to me. "She told you, didn't she?" Ruth murmured. "Told me what?" I demanded. She stepped inside, closing the door gently behind her. Children remember things adults forget. They notice details we miss, and sometimes they repeat what they shouldn't. "What are you talking about?" She walked toward me slowly, like I was a frightened animal she didn't want to startle. "That night," she whispered, "she woke up. She saw everything, and I couldn't risk it." My heartbeat slammed in my chest. "What did she see?" I asked, my voice cracking. Aunt Ruth shook her head. "If I tell you, everything will collapse. Everything I protected, everything I hid, everything I destroyed for this family." "Family," I snapped. "You drugged my daughter, Ruth," she flinched. Then in a broken voice she said, "I was trying to help. I felt dizzy. Help? You were making her sick." "No," she whispered, tears filling her eyes. I was keeping her quiet. "It's not the same thing." My stomach dropped. That was worse. So much worse. "What did she see?" I repeated, my voice barely holding together. Ruth grabbed the back of a chair to steady herself. "Your husband. That night he told you he was working late." Her voice cracked. "He wasn't." Cold fear crawled up my spine. "Not this. Not again." "Not him? What did he do?" Ruth squeezed her eyes shut, a tear rolling down her cheek. "Your daughter woke up and wandered into the living room. She saw him with someone." "So she saw him cheating?" I asked breathlessly. But Ruth shook her head violently. No, it was worse. Much worse." I gripped the notebook tightly. "Tell me." Ruth looked at me with an expression so broken, so terrified it made me step back. "He wasn't with a woman," she whispered. "He was meeting someone dangerous. Someone he shouldn't be connected to. And your daughter saw the suitcase they gave him." A chill ran through me. "A suitcase? What was in it?" I asked. She hesitated for a long, painful moment. Then, "Money," her voice trembled. "Stacks and stacks. Far too much, and documents. Fake IDs, contracts. Things that could ruin him. Ruin all of us. If anyone talked," I felt the ground slip beneath me. No, this couldn't be real. My husband? Secret deals? Fake documents? Dangerous people? I shook my head. Why didn't he tell me? Because you would have left, Ruth whispered. And he needed you. He needed the image of a stable family. He told me, if your daughter said anything, if she remembered anything, everything would fall apart. So he used my daughter as leverage? My breath hitched. And you? I asked slowly. What did you do? Ruth collapsed into the chair, defeated. I panicked. She kept asking questions. She kept saying she saw Daddy with a stranger man and a shiny black box. I didn't know what to do. If the wrong people found out she saw, or if she repeated it, her voice cracked. I gave her something mild at first, just to calm her. Then stronger things, then more. I thought I was protecting her, protecting you, protecting the family. You almost killed her, I whispered. Her shoulders shook, I know. We stayed in silence for a long time. Finally, Ruth looked up, and in her eyes was something new. Fear, not of me, of someone else. He's coming home tonight, she whispered. And if he finds out, if he learns what she told the doctor. Her voice broke. You and your daughter aren't safe anymore. My blood froze. What do you mean? Aunt Ruth stood up slowly and grabbed my shoulders. Listen to me carefully, she said. You need to leave this house, right now. For a moment, I couldn't breathe. Aunt Ruth's fingers dug into my shoulders, her eyes frantic, darting toward the doorway as if my husband might appear any second. You're scaring me, I whispered. I'm trying to save you, she hissed back. I should have done this sooner. I should have protected you and the child instead of him. My pulse hammered in my ears. What is he involved in, Ruth? What did he do? But she only shook her head, fear tightening her jaw. If I say the wrong thing, it's over for all of us. I stepped away from her, my hands trembling. The lamp beside the bed cast flickering shadows across the walls, and for the first time I realized how trapped I truly was in this house. My home suddenly felt like a prison. What do you mean he's coming home? I asked quietly. He's not supposed to be back until tomorrow. Ruth swallowed hard. He lied. I overheard him on the phone earlier tonight. Something went wrong. One of his partners got arrested. He said he's cleaning loose ends before things get messy. Loose ends. A cold shiver ran through me. And you think we're the loose ends? Ruth didn't answer, and the silence said everything. For a moment, neither of us moved. The air felt thick, like the walls were listening. Then, a car door slammed outside. We both jerked. My breath caught in my throat. No, I whispered. No, he can't be back already. Ruth grabbed my hand. We need to move. Now. We hurried into the hallway, every floorboard creaking too loudly beneath our feet. I glanced toward my daughter's room, her small silhouette sleeping peacefully under the glow of her nightlight. My heart twisted painfully. I crossed the room in 2 steps and scooped her into my arms. She stirred slightly but didn't wake. Outside, the front door lock clicked. My heart stopped. He's inside, Ruth whispered. I froze just for a second, but it was enough. The familiar sound of his boots on the hardwood drifted down the hall. Slow, heavy steps, not the casual walk of someone coming home. No, this was something calculated, controlled, dangerous. Ruth glanced at me, fear etched deep in her features. This way, she mouthed, pointing toward the back staircase. I followed her as quietly as I could, my daughter's breathing warm against my neck. We slipped into the narrow stairwell that led directly to the garage. Behind us, his voice drifted through the hallway. Ruth, are you awake? My stomach churned. He sounded calm, too calm. Like a predator coaxing prey out of hiding. Ruth clenched her jaw and whispered, Go. If he sees you, he won't let you leave. But what about you? I whispered. She forced a thin smile. I'll buy you time. I owe you that much. Before I could argue, she stepped out of the stairwell and gently pulled the door closed between us. I hesitated, but then her voice echoed softly through the wood. Run. That one word jolted me into action. I hurried down the stairs, each step feeling like a countdown. The garage was cold, the faint smell of oil and metal filling the air. I opened the car door quietly and settled my daughter into the back seat, buckling her with trembling hands. My keys, I checked my pocket. Not there. I swallowed panic. Think. I spotted my purse hanging by its strap from the hook near the door to the kitchen. I grabbed it and fumbled inside. Upstairs, I heard a muffled thud. My heart skipped. Ruth. I forced the thought away. Focus. Survive. My fingers finally closed around the keys, just as footsteps approached the stairwell door. I froze. The knob turned. My lungs locked. He was coming. I darted into the driver's seat and hit the ignition. The engine roared to life like a scream in the night. The stairwell door burst open. He stood there, eyes widening when he saw the car, saw me, saw... Stop! I slammed the garage door button, watching it descend like a slow-moving barrier between us. He lunged forward, shouting, "You don't know what you're doing." His hand slapped against the metal just as it shut. I shifted into reverse, adrenaline flooding my veins, and backed out of the driveway so fast the tires screeched. In the rearview mirror, I saw him banging on the garage door from inside, rage twisting his face. My daughter stirred and whispered, half asleep, "Mommy, Daddy's mad." I forced my voice to sound calm, even though fear clawed at my throat. "It's okay, baby, Mommy's here." I sped down the street, not daring to look back again. At the first red light, as my heartbeat finally began to slow, my phone buzzed. I pulled it out. A message from an unknown number appeared on the screen. "Running won't save you. We need to talk now." A second message followed instantly. "You have something that doesn't belong to you." I nearly dropped the phone. Something that doesn't belong to me? I didn't have anything. I had only taken my daughter. Unless, my mind raced. The notebook, Ruth's frantic notes. The mention of money, deals, documents, danger. Had he been looking for that notebook? My pulse thundered. Before I could process, another message came. "If you want your sister-in-law safe, bring the book." Sister-in-law? I didn't understand. And then it hit me. He had gone after Ruth. My breathing faltered. No, 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 no. My hands shook so violently the keys jingled in the ignition. "He's hurting her," I whispered, "because she helped us." My daughter's tiny voice floated from the back seat. "Mommy, where are we going?" I swallowed. "Somewhere safe," I said. But as I drove into the night, one thing became painfully clear. Safety didn't exist anymore. Not until I faced my husband. Not until I learned the truth. Not until I found out what he had done and what he was willing to do next. The night swallowed us whole as I drove, my daughter's soft breathing the only calm in the storm circling my mind. The road stretched endlessly ahead, headlights slicing through the fog, but inside the car, terror was a thick, choking presence. Ruth. The notebook, my husband's messages. Every piece of the puzzle stabbed at me, each one twisting tighter. At the next gas station, I pulled over. My daughter slept through the halt, her little hand curled under her cheek. I pulled the notebook from my bag. Ruth's handwriting rushed across the pages in frantic strokes. "If anything happens to me, it's him. You must protect Emily. The pills, they weren't vitamins. They were sedatives, mild doses first. Increasing every week," my stomach lurched. Sedatives. For my child. My throat closed. My legs went weak. I slid down against the car door. Why? Why would he drug his own daughter? My phone buzzed again, unknown. "Number, you have 1 hour. Bring the notebook." I clenched the phone until my knuckles whitened. A mother will burn the world before she hands her child to danger. I wiped my tears, locked the car, and walked into the convenience store. The cashier looked at me, messy hair, trembling hands, but didn't ask questions. I bought a burner phone, a large thermos of coffee, and a cheap hoodie. Then I stepped outside to breathe. The cold slapped me awake. I dialed the burner phone, then texted back using the new number. "Where?" He replied instantly. "The old greenhouse, come alone." Of course, a place isolated, hidden, closed off. A perfect stage for him to finish everything. My heart hammered, but beneath the fear, something else sparked. Anger. I wasn't prey anymore. I climbed back into the car, kissed my daughter's forehead, and whispered, "Mommy will fix this." I called 911, but didn't speak, just left the line open. Let the operator trace it. Then I drove. The old greenhouse sat at the edge of town, abandoned for years. Broken glass, rusted beams, vines swallowing the structure whole. The moonlight shone through shattered panels, casting jagged shadows across the floor. I stepped inside. He was already there. Standing in the center, arms crossed, his face half lit, half darkness. The man I once loved was gone. This was someone else entirely. "You're late," he said coldly. I held up the notebook. "Where is Ruth?" He smirked. "Alive for now." My stomach twisted. Why? I demanded. Why the pills? Why the lies? Why my daughter? He stepped closer, and in the moonlight his eyes gleamed with something unhinged. You were leaving me, he whispered. You were pulling away. I saw it in your eyes. I wasn't. Yes, you were. He pointed at the notebook. When I found out Ruth was talking to you, I realized she had become a threat. She always hated me. She wanted you to leave. My breath caught. He continued, voice low like poison. So I controlled the one thing you'd never walk away from. My heart froze. My bones froze. My soul froze. You controlled our child? He smiled like it was logical, normal, just a little. The pills kept her calm, dependent. Sick enough for you to stay close, stay occupied, stay home. Sick enough. My knees trembled. You drugged her to trap me? He shrugged. Families stay together when tragedy hits. You would have never left a vulnerable child. A scream built inside me. You monster, his voice sharpened. Bring me the notebook, now. No. His expression darkened. I said, a rustle behind him. He turned. Ruth stumbled forward, bruised, bleeding, but alive. She had slipped out of the shadows, clutching a metal rod. Don't touch her, she yelled. His face twisted with rage. You... She swung. The metal cracked against his shoulder, and he stumbled. Run! Ruth screamed. Everything exploded into motion. He lunged at her. I lunged at him. The notebook flew from my hand, pages scattering like broken wings. He shoved me, hard. I hit the dirt floor, pain exploding through my ribs. Ruth swung again, but this time he caught her wrist, twisting until she screamed. I forced myself up. Let her go. He didn't. He pulled a shard of glass from the ground, pressing it to Ruth's throat. Give me the notebook, he snarled. My vision blurred from terror. My hands shook uncontrollably. All the pages lay scattered around me. I knelt, picked one up. Then another. His eyes burned into me. Hurry up! But as I gathered the pages, a siren wailed in the distance. He froze. His grip tightened on Ruth, fury boiling in his eyes. You called them? My voice shook. You wanted to finish us. I can't let you, his jaw clenched. He pushed Ruth away and charged at me with the shard raised. Time slowed. I grabbed the heavy thermos, hot, steaming, and swung it upward. The boiling coffee burst onto his face. He screamed, dropping the shard, hands clawing at his burning skin. I shoved him with everything inside me, and he fell backward, crashing onto the glass-littered floor. Police lights exploded through the broken windows. Hands where we can see them! He writhed, reaching blindly, but it was over. Officers pinned him down as he shrieked, spitting curses, screaming my name in a twisted, animalistic howl. Then, silence. Morning light crept over the horizon as paramedics tended to Ruth and wrapped my ribs. My daughter slept safely inside the patrol car, unaware of the nightmare that almost stole her life. A detective approached me. You saved her, he said softly. Your sister-in-law and your daughter. I nodded, tears spilling. What happens now? I whispered. He glanced toward the squad car where my husband sat chained. He'll be charged with child endangerment, drugging a minor, kidnapping attempts, and worse. He won't see daylight for a long time. A wind blew through the abandoned greenhouse, carrying away the last remnants of the nightmare. Ruth touched my hand gently. I thought I lost you, she whispered. You saved us, I said. You always did. She smiled weakly, her eyes watery but relieved. Let's go home, she said. And for the first time in months, home felt possible again, safe, ours.